Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever looked at someone speaking English fluently and quietly whispered to yourself, "Maybe I can never do that"? Have you ever believed that English belongs only to those who can afford expensive courses, memorize endless grammar rules, or spend years in classrooms? If that thought has ever crossed your mind, then today, I want you to leave it behind. Because the biggest barrier between you and fluent English is not your vocabulary. It is not your grammar. It is not your pronunciation. The biggest barrier is the story you keep telling yourself. I can't. The day you change that story is the day your English begins to change. Most people believe that the secret to speaking English fluently is studying for hours every day. They collect grammar books, watch countless lessons, memorize hundreds of vocabulary words, and fill notebooks with rules. They stay busy, but they rarely become confident speakers. The reason is simple. Speaking is not a subject that you master by reading about it. Speaking is a skill that grows only when you actually speak. Think about how a child learns a language. A child does not begin with grammar books or dictionaries. A child listens, copies, makes mistakes, gets corrected, and tries again. Day after day, those small conversations become natural speech. That same principle works for adults learning English. Imagine someone who spends 2 hours every day studying grammar but never opens their mouth to speak. After 6 months, that person may know the difference between several tenses, but if someone suddenly asks a simple question in English, they freeze. On the other hand, another learner spends just 20 minutes every day speaking English, even with mistakes. They describe their day, talk to themselves in front of a mirror, repeat sentences aloud, and practice with videos or language partners. After 6 months, that learner may still make grammar mistakes, but they can communicate confidently. Confidence always grows faster through action than through endless preparation. Many learners keep waiting for the perfect moment. They tell themselves, "I will start speaking after I finish grammar." Then grammar becomes vocabulary, vocabulary becomes pronunciation, pronunciation becomes accent. The finish line keeps moving farther away. Months become years, and they are still waiting. The truth is that confidence never comes before speaking. Confidence comes because of speaking. Every conversation you have makes the next conversation easier. Every mistake teaches your brain something new. Every sentence you speak trains your mouth to become faster and more natural. Speaking every day does not require expensive classes or native speakers. You already have everything you need. You have your voice. You have your phone. You have your thoughts. Start by talking about simple things. Describe the room around you. Explain what you are doing while making tea. Tell yourself about your plans for tomorrow. Talk about your favorite movie, your family, your goals, or the weather. It does not matter if nobody is listening. What matters is that your brain becomes comfortable producing English instead of only understanding it. Many people are afraid of making mistakes because they think mistakes are signs of failure. In reality, mistakes are signs of progress. Every fluent English speaker has made thousands of mistakes. They mispronounced words, forgot vocabulary, mixed up grammar, and felt embarrassed. The difference is that they kept speaking anyway. If you refuse to make mistakes, you also refuse to improve. Every mistake is like a teacher pointing you toward the next level. Instead of saying, "I made a mistake," start saying, "I learned something today." Consistency is far more powerful than intensity. Speaking for 15 minutes every single day is much more effective than speaking for 3 hours once a week. Your brain learns through repetition. Small daily practice builds strong habits. Every day your tongue becomes more flexible. Every day your ears recognize more sounds. Every day your confidence grows a little stronger. Those tiny improvements may seem invisible at first, but after weeks and months they create a dramatic transformation. Do not worry about sounding perfect. Perfection is not the goal. Communication is the goal. If someone understands your message, you have already succeeded. Think about people from different countries who speak English with different accents. They do not all sound the same, yet they communicate successfully because they focus on expressing ideas instead of chasing perfection. Your accent is not your enemy. Your silence is. Create a simple daily speaking habit that you can follow without excuses. Wake up and speak English for 5 minutes about your plans for the day. During lunch, describe what you are eating. In the evening, summarize everything that happened during the day. Before sleeping, talk about what you learned and what you want to improve tomorrow. These short conversations may seem ordinary, but together they build extraordinary confidence. Another powerful habit is shadowing. Listen to a short English sentence from a video and immediately repeat it aloud. Try to copy the speaker's rhythm, speed, and pronunciation. Do not pause to analyze every grammar rule. Just listen and imitate. This exercise trains your ears, your tongue, and your confidence at the same time. The more you repeat, the more natural English begins to feel. Remember that learning English is not about collecting information. It is about building a habit. Knowledge without action stays inside a notebook. Practice turns knowledge into ability. Every day you choose to speak, you prove to yourself that progress is possible. Every sentence becomes another brick in the foundation of your fluency. Every conversation becomes another step toward confidence. Every small effort brings you closer to becoming the person who no longer says, I am learning English, but proudly says, I speak English. When most people decide to learn English, the very first thing they do is buy a grammar book. They spend weeks memorizing tenses, learning rules, filling in blanks, and trying to understand every exception. They believe that once their grammar becomes perfect, they will finally start speaking. But that day rarely comes. They keep studying, yet they remain silent. They know the rules, but they cannot introduce themselves confidently. They can solve grammar exercises, but they struggle to order a cup of coffee, answer a simple question, or express their thoughts in English. The problem is not that grammar is useless. The problem is that they have placed grammar before confidence, when confidence should always come first. Think about a child learning their first language. No child begins by studying grammar. No one teaches a 2-year-old the present perfect tense before allowing them to speak. Children learn by listening, copying, making mistakes, and speaking every single day. They say incorrect sentences thousands of times before they learn the correct ones. Nobody laughs at them. Nobody tells them to stop speaking until they become perfect. Instead, every mistake becomes a step toward fluency. That is exactly how language is meant to be learned. Unfortunately, as adults, we reverse the process. We become afraid of mistakes. We believe every sentence must be perfect before we say it. We spend more time correcting ourselves than expressing ourselves. We become prisoners of grammar instead of users of language. Every time we want to speak, our brain starts checking rules. Is this the correct tense? Should I use has or have? Is this preposition right? By the time we finish thinking, the conversation has already moved on. Confidence disappears because fear has taken control. Confidence is not something that appears after you master English. Confidence is something you build while speaking imperfect English. The people you admire today were not born fluent. They were once beginners who made mistakes every day. The difference is that they accepted those mistakes as part of the journey instead of treating them as proof that they were failing. They understood that communication is always more important than perfection. Imagine meeting someone from another country who speaks broken English but communicates with a smile, confidence, and energy. Even if their grammar is not perfect, you understand them. You appreciate their effort. You enjoy the conversation because they are focused on connection, not perfection. Now imagine another person who knows every grammar rule but refuses to speak because they are afraid of making one tiny mistake. Which person is actually using English? The answer is obvious. Language exists to communicate, not to impress people with perfect grammar. Many learners think people will laugh at them if they make mistakes. The truth is, most people respect those who try. Every fluent speaker remembers being a beginner. They know how difficult it is to speak a new language. They are usually patient, encouraging, and happy to help. Even if someone laughs, that laughter cannot stop your progress unless you allow it to. Never let the opinion of someone who is not building your future decide how confident you should feel. Another mistake learners make is translating every sentence from their native language before speaking. This habit creates confusion because languages do not always follow the same structure. Instead of translating, begin thinking with simple English words you already know. Use short sentences. Say, I need help. I like this book. Or, I will call you later. These simple sentences may not sound impressive, but they build the habit of thinking directly in English. Confidence grows through repeated action, not through complicated vocabulary. Do not wait until you know 5,000 words before speaking. Start with 50 words. Then use those 50 words every day in different situations. The more often you use the words you know, the more naturally new words will join your vocabulary. Speaking creates memory far better than silent reading. Your mouth teaches your brain just as much as your brain teaches your mouth. Remember that fluency does not mean speaking without mistakes. Fluency means expressing your ideas without constant fear. Even native speakers pause, forget words, restart sentences, and make grammatical errors. Yet they continue speaking because their goal is communication. If native speakers are allowed to make mistakes, why do you expect yourself to be perfect while learning? Replace the habit of asking, was my grammar correct? With a better question, did the other person understand me? If the answer is yes, then you have already succeeded. Every conversation improves your speaking ability. Every mistake teaches you something valuable. Every attempt makes the next attempt easier. From today, give yourself permission to speak before you feel ready. Speak in front of a mirror. Speak while walking. Describe your room in English. Explain your daily routine. Record your voice and listen to it without judging yourself. Talk to friends who are also learning. Celebrate progress instead of perfection. Every sentence you speak is another brick in the foundation of your confidence. Every day you choose courage over fear. Your English becomes stronger, your mind becomes freer, and your belief in yourself becomes more powerful. Most people fail to speak English not because they are incapable, but because they never give themselves a clear challenge. They keep saying, I'll start tomorrow, I'll practice when I have more time, or I'll speak after I finish grammar. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, and months become years. Nothing changes because there's no action. That is why I want you to follow a simple 7-day speaking challenge. These 7 days are not about becoming perfect. They are about proving to yourself that you can speak English without waiting for the perfect moment. The goal is to replace fear with confidence and hesitation with action. On the first day, make one promise to yourself. You will not translate every sentence from your native language into English. Instead, you will think in simple English. Look around your room and name everything you see. Say, this is my chair, this is my phone. I am opening the window. I am drinking water. I am sitting on my chair. These are small sentences, but they teach your brain to connect directly with English. The more you describe your surroundings, the less you depend on translation. You begin creating a new habit, and habits are stronger than motivation. On the second day, start talking about yourself. Speak about your name, your family, your hobbies, your daily routine, your dreams, and your future goals. Do not worry if your sentences are short. A short sentence spoken confidently is better than a long sentence that never leaves your mouth. Your voice needs practice just as much as your mind does. Every minute you spend speaking is training your brain to become faster and more comfortable with English. The third day is about imitation. Listen to a short English video, maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute long. Pause after every sentence and repeat exactly what you hear. Copy the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, energy, and confidence. Children learn languages by copying before they understand every grammar rule. You can do the same. Fluency is not created by memorizing grammar books. It is created by listening, repeating, and speaking again and again until your mouth becomes familiar with the sounds. On the fourth day, challenge yourself to speak without stopping for 5 minutes. Choose any topic. It could be your favorite movie, your city, your childhood memories, your job, your studies, or your favorite food. If you forget a word, don't stop. Use another word, explain the idea differently. Real communication is not about knowing every vocabulary word. It is about expressing your thoughts with the words you already know. Confidence grows every time you continue speaking instead of giving up. The fifth day is about conversations. If you have a friend who wants to improve English, speak together. If you don't have anyone, talk to yourself in front of a mirror. Ask yourself questions and answer them. Pretend you are giving an interview. Pretend you are meeting someone for the first time. Pretend you are introducing yourself at a conference. These imaginary conversations prepare you for real ones. Your brain does not care whether the practice is imaginary or real. It only remembers that you kept speaking. On the sixth day, record your voice. Many people avoid recording themselves because they are afraid of hearing mistakes. But those mistakes are your greatest teachers. Listen carefully. Notice your pronunciation, your speed, and your confidence. Compare today's recording with the first day. You will hear improvement that you never noticed while speaking. Progress becomes visible when you record it. Every successful speaker has spent time listening to themselves, correcting themselves, and improving themselves. The seventh day is your confidence test. Speak for 10 minutes without looking at any notes. Tell a story, explain your daily routine, share your goals, or teach something simple in English. Don't aim for perfection, aim for communication. If you make mistakes, keep going. Every mistake means you are using the language instead of hiding from it. Every sentence makes your brain stronger. Every minute makes speaking easier than it was yesterday. By the end of these 7 days, something important will happen. Your vocabulary may not double. Your grammar may not become perfect, but your fear will become smaller. You will realize that speaking English is not a talent reserved for a lucky few. It is a habit built through daily action. Confidence does not appear before you speak. Confidence appears because you speak. Every conversation becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes experience. Every practice session becomes another step toward fluency. Instead of asking yourself, can I speak English? You begin asking, what should I talk about today? That simple change in mindset transforms everything because the focus moves away from fear and toward communication. When communication becomes your priority, learning becomes natural, progress becomes faster, and English slowly changes from a subject you study into a language you truly live every single day. Today, I am not here to promise you magic. I am here to show you that when you stop waiting for perfect grammar, stop depending on money, and stop being afraid of making mistakes, you unlock a power that has always been inside you. Fluency is not a gift given to a lucky few. It is a skill built by ordinary people who choose to speak before they feel ready. So today, let us discover how you can start speaking English confidently in just 7 days. Not because 7 days will make you perfect, but because 7 days are enough to prove to yourself that you are far more capable than you ever believed.